I recently got a call from my friend Marko about one of his custom celebrity shoe commissions, and he needed a wooden shoebox.
Check out today's canvas. It's a Lamborghini Urus. Today I'm going to be turning all these pants into a skateboard. They recently hit me up to customize some shoes for one of their players' MOUGIE bets.
Oh, nice.
You like them? Okay, these are much cleaner. It's right here, the airbrush paint. Dude. Yo.
What up, buddy?
How's it going?
Good, how are you? What are you working on?
Working on some shoes. I need your help with something. I don't know what you're doing right now, but I need your help. It's kind of last minute. I know I'm doing this to you again, but I need a box for the shoes.
Oh, okay.
By next week.
By next week?
Yeah, the beginning of next week also.
Okay, so that's real tight, but what's that supposed to look like? What's the deal?
I'm making 2 pair of shoes for Elly Cruz, baseball player. 1 pair of Jordans, 1 pair of cleats, but I want 1 box to fit both the shoes. So it's like 1 big package, and then there's like, it's split in the middle, 2 pair of shoes, something. I don't know if you can make it in time, but it's kind of, and then I also want it to look like a normal box, like Jordan logo, the label, like his jersey number.
All right, well, it's gonna be a stretch. Am I even allowed to use the Jordan logo? Am I gonna get sued doing this?
I mean, I'm not the one making the box, so I'm not really worried about that.
All right, so it's on me. Fair.
No pressure, just make it done by next week. I'm just kidding.
And make it amazing.
Yeah, make it awesome too.
All right, well, I better get to it then. I just got a phone with Marko, and we're talking about the lid design, and this is what I'm most concerned about because we have no time. I gotta go to Legoland, my daughter's starting kindergarten, and I gotta go to Ohio for a thing. So we got Elly's jersey number and the Jordan logo. Nike, please don't sue me. And we have a couple other variations on how to do it. We tried outlining and filling it in, but this is like a clear winner. Now, Marko's gonna sew a white leather bag, so we've got that same white leather or a similar white leather that we're gonna put on the bottom of the box. We talked about doing flocking, but this actually, note to self, it rubs off on fabric. So we're not gonna do that. We're gonna test some colors of epoxy, because this is what I'm most concerned about, because if you see the box, this is a Jordan box, we're gonna do this style of lid that comes off. But I need to be able to have the epoxy here. I need to be able to sand and plane it. And then I need to be able to get a coat of Rubio on it. And so we have no time. So I'm gluing up panels first. We're gonna worry about the sides later. I can whip up some miters and do all that pretty quick. But because we're doing leather on the bottom, in worst case scenario, I can use some plywood. So we're gonna have an extra one of these. So let's glue up another panel and test some epoxy colors. I'm gonna send those over to Marko and see what he thinks. Before I forget, we're giving away an all expense paid trip here to Santa Barbara, California to have a one-on-one class with me to all of our new and current email list subscribers. So head over to KM Tools, sign up for the newsletter. I'll link it down in the pinned comment. All right, so I just got notification that the bandsaw blades came in, and I have an idea on how not to get sued. Lou.
Yo, blades came in.
Awesome. Come here. I want to talk to you.
Yeah.
All right, so this is Lou, our production manager. He runs everything you see here. He also set up his childhood basketball hoop when he started working here a couple years ago, which gets a lot of use. Yep. Do you think I need you to be able to dunk the ball like this?
I got you.
All right, let's go. Perfect. All right. So from here on out, the box top is just Lou. That's all that matters. It's Lou. So for those of you who've been around for a while, you probably noticed we got a bunch of new tools. One thing I didn't account for is that an 18-inch bandsaw from one company is not going to use the same blade as another, or the same size blade, I guess. So we limped through this. This blade gummed up almost immediately. It was the stock blade, not set up for resawing. So I ended up clearing some waste on the table saw and pulling my old bandsaw out of retirement while we waited 2 days for the blades to come in. I'm actually going to show you here in a little bit why a resaw blade matters so much, and the gullets and tooth count and all that. So let's mill some lumber, and then we're going to get into how we're going to laser engrave this box. All right, epoxy's gonna dry. Marco's gonna take a look at that. This is Jonathan from the future. We changed a few things up. It's gonna look real cool. Panels are drying. We're gonna resaw the sides of the box and the lid. But you remember at the beginning of the video, I told you I was having a tough time. We had to bring the old bandsaw in and use the table saw. Let me show you why, and why having a good resaw blade when you're resawing, especially really tall boards, really matters. All right, so this is the blade we're using before. You can see it heated up so badly that it actually melted the pitch to itself, which is like the sap. So I cleaned it off here to show you. And this is a Resaw King blade, which I prefer a 3/4 inch wide blade usually for resawing. This is something if you're gonna use like a 36 inch or 24 inch bandsaw, it works great. But the reason that this blade didn't work is it's got like 12 teeth per inch here. And the gullets are big on a resaw blade because it's designed to remove the sawdust out of the board. And so when you have a board that, let's say 12 inches long, it can't go forward in the board until it's removed all the sawdust because it fills up these gullets. And of course, in fact, let me just show you. This will make it easier. So let's imagine this sawdust. By the way, how cool is this black coating on this new Powermatic bandsaw we got? It's their Armor Glide. It is really cool. All right, so let me show you here. Let's say this is our board. Oh wait, nope, that's the wrong thing. And we're going to try and cut this board, right? And so as we enter the board, we need to remove sawdust. And you can see these gullets fill up. And when they fill up, it can't go into the board anymore because there's sawdust blocking its path. So it needs to remove that sawdust, which is why when you're resawing, you need a really big, like 3 tooth per inch blade, whereas the one we were using, this one, 12 teeth per inch, that's gonna fill up almost immediate. And you're gonna have to use a ton of force to push this blade through. So when you use a resaw blade, it allows it to remove more material. You can resaw taller boards. So that's a great reason to get a great board. I'll link one that I use. I like the Timberwolf blades. I'll link that down in the pinned comment. So before I get too ahead of myself, let's resaw some boards and go get the laser started on the big logos so that we can get those filled by today and get this project moving. Now it's time to finish up our grain wrap after resawing. This is a really important part of box making, and one of my favorite things. It's how we get that perfectly wrapped grain around every single corner so it looks like it comes from one continuous board. So we remilled the resawn faces on the jointer and then ran these through the planer. It's important to take the same amount off both pieces if you're trying to maintain the best grain wrap, so just be careful on this part of the process. I do have a really great video on cutting perfect miters. I'll link that down in the pinned comment. I think I've really dialed in how to do this perfectly, and it's a pretty simple process once you've kind of figured out the order of operations. So cut some miters and get this dialed in, and it's also time to cut a groove. You obviously have to do this before you glue up so that we can get our top and bottom panels with those engravings in there. Doing a little test here with the leather so we can make sure that we leave enough room so that it'll fit once we glue that white pebble leather on there. And of course the blue tape trick for gluing up, that's nothing new, but it works so well. Also a cool little tip here is for finding perfect inside measurements. Perfect miters, guy. Perfect inside measurements, use 2 pieces of scrap and a couple squeeze clamps, and you can just fit those right in your groove and find out exactly how big you have to cut your panels. So let's get these panels trimmed up and get this glue up finished. It's so nice when miters come out perfect. And if you want to get perfect miters, I have a really great video. I'm going to link over here. But I digress. Marko overnighted Italian white pebble grain leather to me, which he's using on the shoes. And it's just so beautiful. That was that little tiny scrap you saw me over on the table saw trying to fit the bottom into the slot because I didn't want to waste it. Cut a little scrap. This thing's gorgeous. As I've said, we're in a rush, so we've been overnighting things and, you know, texting all back and forth all night. Not like that. So we're gonna cut this up. Perfect job for my bourbon blade. We're gonna glue it. I have a vacuum bag, but I'm just gonna throw a bunch of weight on top of it because in my experience, I've made a lot of these with like felt and leather on the bottom. Some weight, it really is not gonna matter, but it is gonna be cool that the bottom of the box matches the shoes when he opens it up. The laser just finished, so we're gonna be able to fit up the top, and we're getting pretty close to a glue up here, which is exciting. And Marko made a custom UPC code with his name and a QR code that goes directly to his YouTube page. So we're gonna go engrave that on the sides before we glue up. Super exciting. So let's get to work. We're gonna pre-finish the inside so that we don't mess up the leather, and we're gonna get to putting this thing together, wrapping it up. It's time to do our final engraving, and this blue tape you see me putting on here is because the panels were already to the correct thickness and I had already sanded them, so I didn't want any smoke stains around the engraving. Marko and I, after a lot of back and forth, decided we liked the wood with no epoxy. We thought the 3D and the black with the walnut looked so cool. I also changed the way that I engraved Elly's jersey number so that it looked a lot more 3D, which of course was so cool and kind of one of those duh moments. Marko had this custom UPC code with a QR code design, which actually scans and goes to his YouTube channel. So we're hoping that Elly watches the video when he gets this. So Elly, if you're watching, hello. So now it's time to get this thing wrapped up. We're gonna glue up our box, trim up some leather. It's really important that you tape your miters because when you're finishing before you glue up, you don't want your finish to stop your glue from adhering. I love Rubio Monaco because it is so easy. You just kind of rub it on, buff it off with a Scotch-Brite pad or a buffing pad like you see me doing here with the sander. And then after that, I do a little bit of universal maintenance oil and you get this beautiful eggshell finish. It's just gorgeous. I put mink oil on the leather so that it would smell like a baseball glove. I always remember that from a kid. You get a new glove, put some mink oil on it, and that softens it up and helps it break in. After that, we're gonna rinse and repeat all the same steps for the lid, but the stakes are so high at this point. Marko's coming tomorrow. The lid has to fit perfectly, and I think you'll see here in a minute, we knocked that out of the park, but I didn't know that at this time, so I was real stressed out because these engravings, especially the big ones, take like 3 to 4 hours, so I can't screw this up, and we gotta get it done. So, less yapping and more woodworking. Let's get moving, J-Cam. Now I'm going to peel the tape off the Lou, this is Lou, and the Elly de la Cruz jersey number. This was really nerve-wracking because if there was any errors, like I said, we were totally hosed. But once I blew it off with some compressed air, it looked absolutely incredible. One quick final sanding to take off any tape residue, and it was time to start gluing up our box. But first I need to put some chamfers on the edges, which I don't think there's a better way to do this on small parts than with a hand plane. It's such a pleasure, you know? Getting to whip out the old hand tools. And of course, you see me throughout this whole video, I use my big number 8 jointer plane to line these up because I know it's nice and straight, and we get this thing glued up. But what is so impressive is look how centered this is. And we engraved it before we cut the
sides up. So time to cut some splines, which I just whipped together a quick spline jig. You know, Michael Alm has a really good video on making a spline jig if you want to make a cool one, but I digress. Cut some splines in and it's time to glue them in. And of course, now we should have had that big tooth blade, but of course we used our resaw blade to cut these up, which is why they look so rough. Give them a quick flush trim and everything is really starting to come together. One of the cool things I did with the lid was I lined the splines up perfectly with the box so that when you lifted the lid off, the splines were going to be in the exact same location, which I think visually looks really cool. Speaking of cool, look at this UPC code, and it really looks so good once you sand and blow it with some compressed air. Now again, I get to use the hand plane to clean things up, which just make sure it's real sharp and things should go well for you on those chamfers. Some final sanding and some Rubio, and looks like we're gonna make this deadline by a few hours. Let's wrap up this lid and hope we don't get sued by Nike or MLB for that matter. But hey guys, that's just Lou De La Cruz, our 44th employee at KM Tools from the warehouse. So mind your manners, don't get too excited, and let's check out what this thing looks like.
All right, so I'm so excited to show this to you.
Okay, yeah, I want to see.
This is pretty amazing.
I'm kind of nervous.
It's good, it's good.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, dude, I don't want to touch it.
Here, check out, I 3D printed these
Oh my gosh.
holders too.
Dude, this does not look, the video does not do this justice at all.
It's so good, right?
Oh my gosh. No way.
Look, it's the same as his jersey.
Yeah, let me see. Oh, dude, what? That's insane. This is crazy. It's like heavy duty quality.
Yeah.
This is better than the shoes.
Yeah, it's the leather you sent me to. This is the white pebble leather. It's the same as the shoes, right?
What's the smell?
It's mink oil. So I put mink oil, it's what you use on baseball gloves. So it's like when he opens it, he'll get that same
Dude,
smell.
how did you make it look like?
So it's called Grainwrap.
Yeah, it looks like it's one,
It's all one
carved out in the
board.
middle, yeah.
So yeah, it's called grain matching.
What the heck? Even the bottom looks good. That is insane. Oh, the QR code.
Yeah, it scans, dude. Let's scan it.
Wait,
Watch.
how's it?
Boom.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and then by the time he gets them, hopefully, or by the time he scans it, video will be up.
The video will be up?
Dude, the videos you sent me do not do you can't tell the quality through the video.
Right? It's
Because
wild.
like in real life, the gaps, there's like nothing.
No, it's
There's
perfect.
Like no gaps.
Divider has the leather
Divider's
on it.
good. This is a good call making this wood.
Yeah.
And it like makes this pop more.
We went back and forth
Yeah.
whether to put leather on it or not, but it definitely it gives separation too for the two pairs of shoes.
Yeah, definitely. Plus it's I think the bags are gonna be like lighter color, probably white. So it'll like pop off of this better.
Right, and one will be cleats, right?
Yeah, one's gonna be cleats, they're gonna be red and black. And then the other ones are gonna be pink Jordan ones.
Dude, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Check this out. It's one of my favorite things. This is called a piston fit. It's such a perfect fit that the air can't escape. So watch this.
I gotta show him that.
I
when he
know.
opens it.
Like do it like this
that's
too.
Insane.
I think that's what I spent the most time on was like dialing in that fit. I just literally was testing and testing and testing and.
Did you show close up of this?
Yeah, the splines. I don't think I
don't
did.
understand that.
So basically
No,
a miter.
not the splines, just like where's the gap?
Oh yeah, dude, that's when you get a perfect miter. There's no, you see
Do you see
no
that
line.
thing on the camera? I don't understand how there's no line there. It literally just looks like the grain keeps going. It looks like you put like a veneer on the outside.
Right,
So it goes
like it's just
smooth.
folded
Yeah.
over. Yeah, that's a perfect miter. I'm probably getting
This
sued
is
for
crazy.
this. Yeah,
Yeah, you're getting sued.
I know you got permission, but I certainly did not.
Yeah, you're toast.
Guys, thanks so much for watching. And Marco, thank you for including me, man. That's the most fun I've had in a while making something. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. You did all the work. I mean, I really appreciate this.
Well, I can't wait to see the shoes. And in fact, if you want to see how the shoes were made and the reveal with Elly, am I allowed to say who it was?
Yeah, of course.
With Elly De La Cruz, head over to Marco's channel. It'll be top video. We're going to try and publish around the same time. So, guys, thanks for watching. And as always,
Stay safe in the shop.
yeah, nailed it. One take.